Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The saga surrounding Terry Mclaurin and the Washington Commanders continues to captivate NFL fans and analysts alike as the star wide receiver's contract situation remains unsettled despite his public trade request. Mclaurin, affectionately known as Scary Terry, has been a beacon of consistency and excellence since his arrival in Washington in 2019 as a third-round draft pick. Over 5 seasons, he has carved out an impressive resume, highlighted by 5 consecutive 1,000-yard receiving campaigns. His impact on the field is undeniable. In 2024, Mclaurin's efforts earned him a coveted second-team All-Pro selection, underscoring his status as one of the league's premier pass catchers. However, as he approaches his 30s with just 1 year left, on his current contract, the Commanders find themselves at a crossroads, grappling with how best to manage his future amid financial and strategic considerations. The heart of the tension lies in Mclaurin's contract demands versus the Commanders' willingness to commit financially. The wideout is slated to make a base salary of $15 million in the final year of his deal, but he's reportedly seeking an extension with an average annual value exceeding $30 million. This substantial leap in salary expectations has led to an impasse with the two sides unable to reach common ground earlier in the offseason. This stalemate prompted Mclaurin to make the bold move of requesting a trade, signaling his frustration and desire for a fresh start elsewhere. The trade request sent ripples through the NFL community as teams pondered whether a deal might be struck. Yet the Commanders quickly recalibrated, realizing the immense value Mclaurin brings to their offense and the cost of losing such a productive and popular player for anything less than his market worth. Despite the initial shock of Mclaurin's trade demand, Washington appears steadfast in its desire to retain its star receiver. According to ESPN's Dan Graciano, insiders within the organization assert the Commanders have no intention of trading Mclaurin and continue to pursue a contract extension. This commitment speaks volumes about how integral Mclaurin is to the franchise's offensive identity and long-term plans. The team is reportedly still in talks aiming to bridge the financial gap and resolve the stalemate. For the Commanders, it's a delicate balance between rewarding Mclaurin's sustained excellence and managing salary cap constraints. Holding on to their longest tenured skill player also sends a message of stability and ambition, especially as the team looks to build around promising young quarterback Jayden Daniels. The timing of Mclaurin's predicament adds another layer to the narrative. After years of enduring some of the franchise's darkest seasons, he recently tasted postseason success, winning his first playoff game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the wild card round and then stunning the Detroit Lions in the divisional round. These achievements not only elevated Mclaurin's profile, but also reaffirmed his belief in the team's potential. With Daniels emerging as one of the NFL's most intriguing young quarterbacks, the Commanders are poised for a competitive run in the years ahead. This scenario gives Mclaurin a compelling reason to stay and be part of something special, rather than seeking greener pastures elsewhere. The offensive chemistry between Mclaurin and Daniels could be a defining storyline for Washington's resurgence. From Mclaurin's perspective, his desire for a lucrative contract is understandable and justified. After being drafted in the 3rd round, he earned less than $1 million annually throughout his rookie contract. His relentless work ethic, consistent production, and ability to overcome adversity have established him as a franchise cornerstone. The $30 million annual figure he reportedly seeks reflects his belief in his value and the market for elite wide receivers in today's NFL. While he may not reach the astronomical contract signed by superstars like Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson, Mclaurin's skill set and leadership warrant a deal that firmly positions him among the league's top earners at his position. His patience and professionalism during negotiations show his commitment to the franchise despite the current friction. From the Commanders' side, it's clear they recognize Mclaurin's importance but must weigh fiscal responsibility and future roster construction. The NFL's salary cap landscape forces teams to be strategic about how they allocate resources, and locking up a player nearing 30 with a high-priced extension can be risky. However, Washington's current trajectory combined with Mclaurin's peak-level performance makes this a gamble worth taking. The organization is likely looking to strike a balance, offering Mclaurin a deal that reflects his production and leadership while leaving flexibility to build a championship-caliber roster around him. Both parties have incentives to reach a deal, as the cost of a protracted standoff or a trade would disrupt continuity and potentially set back the team's progress. In examining the broader picture, the Commanders' situation with Mclaurin highlights a growing trend in the NFL where star wide receivers are demanding contracts commensurate with their impact, often commanding prices that challenge team budgets. Mclaurin's case exemplifies how modern receivers have become critical to offensive schemes, serving as both reliable targets and dynamic playmakers. The evolution of the passing game has elevated the value of players like Mclaurin, whose ability to create separation, make contested catches, and produce consistently in high-pressure situations is prized. The Commanders, aware of this, understand that retaining Mclaurin could be the key to unlocking their offensive potential for years to come, especially with a young quarterback ready to ascend. Looking forward, the resolution of Mclaurin's contract. Talks will shape Washington's identity and competitive outlook. Should the Commanders succeed in locking him down, they will send a powerful message to their roster and fan base that the team is serious about contending. It will also stabilize their wide receiver corps, giving Daniels and the coaching staff a dependable weapon around whom they can build their passing game. On the other hand, if negotiations fail and Mclaurin is ultimately traded, the franchise will face the difficult task of replacing a player who has been the face of the offense and a fan favorite for half a decade. Such a move would signal a rebuild or a significant shift in strategy, potentially altering the trajectory of Washington's future. In the end, the Mclaurin saga is about more than just dollars and cents. It's about loyalty, ambition, and the complex dynamics of team building in the NFL. Both Mclaurin and the Commanders have much to gain from reaching an agreement, with Mclaurin securing financial security and a chance to shine in a promising offense, and the Commanders preserving their offensive cornerstone as they strive to return to playoff prominence. Fans, analysts, and league observers will be watching closely as these negotiations unfold, eager to see if Scary Terry will continue to electrify the field in Washington or embark on a new chapter elsewhere. The stakes are high, but so is the potential for a mutually beneficial resolution that could define the next era of Commanders football. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. Absolutely stunning news coming out of the nation's capital. And if the rumors hold even a grain of truth, we're witnessing one of the boldest moves of the NFL offseason, perhaps of the decade. Word on the street is that the Washington Commanders have thrown down an astronomical offer to keep their star wide receiver Terry McLaurin in burgundy and gold through the 2030 season. We're talking big money here, folks. Reports are swirling that the franchise has put a jaw-dropping figure on the table, something in the neighborhood of $750 million, which roughly translates to over $140 million USD. It's the kind of deal that doesn't just turn heads, it snaps necks. And the Commanders, while they're sending a clear message to the league, they're serious, they're aggressive, and they're not letting their guy walk. But is this real or just another wild whisper echoing through the offseason rumor mill? Let's dig into it. Now let's get something straight. Terry McLaurin has been the heart and soul of the Commanders' offense since the day he was drafted. He's tough, consistent, and a silent assassin on the field. The kind of guy who lets his hands and his feet do all the talking. So if Washington really is backing up the Brinks truck and locking him in until 2030, it makes a lot of sense. But $750 million, that's unheard of. That kind of cash isn't just a contract, it's a coronation. It's what you pay to a franchise. Quarterback, not a wideout. Still, McLaurin has been more than just a receiver for this team. He's been their offensive identity. And in a league where elite receivers can swing the momentum of a season, maybe the Commanders just decided it's worth breaking the bank. Or maybe they're desperate to show they're done being mediocre. Insiders close to the situation suggests that talks between Mclaurin's camp and the Commanders' front office have been heating up for months. While no official numbers have been released, multiple sources hint that this could be the biggest wide receiver deal in NFL history. Not just in terms of annual value, but in total guarantees. That's where things get spicy. Because if those guarantees are truly in the 9-figure range, it changes the landscape of player contracts moving forward. Think about it. What does this mean for guys like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, or even CeeDee Lamb? The ripple effect could be massive, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. At the moment, everything remains unconfirmed. All we know is that where there's smoke, there's usually fire. And right now, there's a whole lot of smoke billowing out of Washington. DC, from a strategic standpoint, this kind of move would signal a major shift in how Washington plans to build their future. For years, the Commanders have struggled to find a consistent identity on offense. They've cycled through quarterbacks, changed coordinators, and had a revolving door of supporting players. But Mclaurin has been the one constant by potentially investing $750 million in him. The Commanders are not just rewarding loyalty, they're planting a flag. They're telling the league that they finally have a foundational piece they believe in. But it's also risky. Massive contracts have a way of aging poorly in the NFL. Injuries, coaching, changes, scheme fit. It all plays a role. So is this a stroke of genius or a reckless gamble from a front office trying to make a splash in a crowded NFC? There's also the business angle to consider. Since the team's rebranding as the Commanders, they face criticism for lacking a clear identity and struggling to engage a fractured fan base. What better way to rally the faithful than locking up a beloved player? Long-term Terry McLaurin is a fan favorite for a reason. Humble, hard-working, and highly respected across the league. This rumored deal could be as much about public relations as it is about football. You give the fans something to believe in, and suddenly ticket sales go up, jersey sales spike, and the narrative around your team starts to shift. Smart move, right? Maybe. But that kind of thinking only works if the team starts winning. And as we all know, no amount of off-field goodwill matters if the scoreboard keeps reading L after L. Of course, we can't ignore the role of ownership in all of this. Since the departure of Dan Snyder and the arrival of a new ownership group, the Commanders have been signaling a culture shift. They're investing in infrastructure, improving facilities, and apparently not afraid to spend. If this deal is real, it's a statement from ownership that they're willing to go to financial war to build a contender. It's the kind of boldness fans have been starving for, but spending big doesn't always mean spending smart. There's a fine line between aggressive investment and overcommitment. If Mclaurin can maintain his health and production, this deal could be a cornerstone moment. But if things go south, it could become an albatross that handcuffs the team for years to come. That's the gamble. What's also fascinating is the potential domino effect this deal could trigger around the league. Teams with elite receivers entering contract years are surely watching this closely. Agents are likely licking their chops. If Mclaurin gets $750 million, what's the going rate for younger, statistically superior wideouts? And how do teams with tighter cap situations respond? The balance of financial power in the league could start tilting toward receivers in a way we haven't seen before. In the past, it was quarterbacks and pass rushers who commanded these mega deals. But maybe, just maybe, the value of a game-changing wideout is finally being recognized at its true worth. Or maybe Washington is just overpaying out of fear that letting Mclaurin walk would spark fan outrage. Another layer to this story is the potential impact on the locker room. Whenever a player gets paid, especially at this magnitude, there's always a ripple effect among teammates. Some may feel inspired, others might feel envious. Coaches will need to manage egos, expectations, and the pressure that comes with a player wearing a golden price tag. Mclaurin doesn't strike anyone as the type to let fame or fortune change his demeanor, but humans are human. And when you become the highest paid player on the team by a landslide, people notice. The front office will have to ensure that this deal strengthens the locker room rather than splintering it. After all, football is still the ultimate team game, no matter how many zeros are on your paycheck. Let's not forget the media circus this rumor has already begun to stir. Sports talk shows are already buzzing with takes. Some are praising the Commanders for finally acting like a modern NFL franchise willing to pay for top-tier talent. Others are criticizing the supposed figure as reckless and desperate. The truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. And until someone from the Commanders organization or Mclaurin's camp confirms, the numbers speculation will continue to fly. But even if the reported $750 million is inflated or includes creative accounting, the bottom line is clear: Mclaurin is in line for a historic payday, and with that comes historic pressure. Will he rise to the occasion, or will this saga become another cautionary tale in the long, turbulent history of the Washington franchise? So where does this all leave us? In limbo mostly. Caught between excitement and skepticism, between admiration and apprehension. What we know for sure is that Terry McLaurin deserves to be paid. He's earned it with his play, his leadership, and his resilience. Whether or not this rumored $750 million deal comes to fruition, the conversation it sparked is real. It speaks to a changing NFL where receivers are finally being recognized as franchise pillars, not just complementary pieces. If the Commanders truly are the ones setting this new standard, then they better hope they've built a team around Mclaurin that can match his greatness. Otherwise, they might just find themselves with the richest receiver in the league, and still no playoff wins to show for it. Only time will tell if this gamble turns into glory or regret. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.